The Tijuana River Valley sewage crisis is a well-known environmental catastrophe in our county, and each time it rains, the issue worsens. Here to discuss how local leaders are trying to make change, former Congressman and County Supervisor and Mayor of Imperial Beach, Brian Bilbray. Brian, good morning. Always great to see you.
Great to be here.
Nobody knows more about this issue than you do. I think that's safe to say.
I literally grew up in the valley.
Yes.
My mother caught me at 8 years old trying to sneak across Monument Road, trying to get up to the Tijuana Mountains. That was sort of the beginning of it, because there were two houses between my childhood home and the border. That's just where you live.
Wow.
What a great playground, though. What a great place to go. Now everything's turned around. All of that beautiful area is getting so destroyed, and it's just becoming so off the wall. And really, it is really the living manifestation of, government inefficiency and stupidity. You got the federal government, state government, you have the city government, you have the county government, then you have all the, under the carpet cloak government, quasi-government, these NGOs and people from different groups, and most of them don't live in the area, are just interdicting and, controlling the area. And it's just been a disaster from the get-go. It's gotten worse just as every decade goes by.
And what is the reason it has gotten worse?
Because you've got people with agendas that are not tied to the land, not tied to the community. You've got a lot of these groups that are based north city, outside of the area. A good example is the fact that you saw the flooding that happened in Southeast. That flooding was not caused by somebody who's on the council now. That flooding was caused back in the 90s because you had groups and federal agencies that said you can't clear out channels because willow, what's in the channels, is habitat for a bird, the Lisbell's vireo. We had the same thing on the Tijuana Valley, where the federal government agencies were approved to clear a nice channel all the way to Hollister Street Bridge. But then at the county, I couldn't do it, and the city couldn't. We're not allowed to clear that channel all the way to the tidal basin. So what you have in 1993, you had all of this stormwater come down, and the environmental agencies that says, oh, it'll just pass through, didn't consider the trash comes with it, hits the willow, created a dam, and the Tijuana River right now goes underneath the bridge, turns around and reverses back under the bridge again and does a loop. And the people that sits there and say, oh, well, nature will take care of this. No, you've got trash in there. And yeah, I actually had a federal agent that said, oh, there's no trash in the Tijuana Valley. That's a rural area. Wouldn't even look south of a map south of the border. It was just looking at it. You have that, you have the issues of the sewage issue, you've got all these agencies and a lot of people that are working behind the scenes in these certain groups that are raising money off of this kind of problems, but are not tied to having to live with solving the problem.
So we have an environmental issue where some people on the environmental side are saying there's a bird that lives in a tree that grows there, so we can't clear that out.
You had, in fact, when I went to Washington, I tried to get the law changed that instead of having to go in and plant all of this willow or all this habitat every time you do a maintenance job every 4 years like you should, that you should just be able to verify that the original habitat you did is still good, then you get to go. But see, that's not there's these agendas that say, well, Congressman, you don't understand. There's so many people breaking the law, destroying this habitat that we don't know about. We have to force those who are trying to stay within the law to do 10 times what their fair share is. And what you have right now is you have the entire valley now that has been changed from what is not natural. And the channel is flowing farther north than in any written history going back to Father Sarah. And it's all caused because bureaucracy did not allow a 12-foot channel to make it to the ocean, and so that when it does flow, it can flow all the way through rather than dumping the trash. The county right now is proposing burying the trash that's there under the sand, and they're sequestering the sand. That sand is the vital first line of defense for Imperial Beach with sea level rise, needs to be on the beaches. But the people that claim they care about the environment are totally ignoring the fact that Imperial Beach is losing this big protection. And And, you know, everybody talks about it, but nobody will go down and actually say, we need to require the regulations to be streamlined to get the outcome. And there's where you miss it. You've got people controlling the agenda who have no vested interest in the outcome. So they can come, do these regulations, walk away to another job, and those of us in the South Bay have to live with the repercussions.
All right, Brian Bilbray, hey, nobody knows it better than you. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully something gets done finally.